All right, this is a video that I've wanted to do for some time, okay? I go through this process with every person that comes on board as a client to really, I don't know, we're pretty hard on ourselves as people, you know? We always think we don't have $1 million in the bank, or, you know, we're not killing it on 500 grand a year, that we're not doing good. But we really underestimate, one, the power of a salary, but two, we really underestimate how hard and how much of an investment we are personally, right? And I want to go through this with you so that you can sort of understand how valuable you are to your plan, okay? Instead of always trying to focus on outside factors, why, when people say you're the best investment, to give you an actual monetary figure on that to show you how important you are. So the first thing we need to sort of establish is income is what we live on, yeah? Having $12 million in on-paper assets means jack shit if it's not putting money in your pocket to live on, yeah? It's all well and good to have that stuff up until retirement, but when we retire, or when we need to turn off our workable income, so the money we earn by trading time, the number on paper needs to actually generate an income. If it doesn't, it's worth jack shit to us, yeah? Because the money in our pocket is the thing that we've worked our whole lives for, to be able to do and enjoy the things that we buy and do the things we want to do, right? That make us happy. So understanding first and foremost that is really important. Secondly, we need to understand how much you would need to generate money, right? So in this example, this is not absolutely correct, but we're going to use the very generic figure of 20 times, assuming that we can generate a 5% return off any investment. Doesn't matter what it is. Forget what investment it is, right? So 20 times. So when we target from a long way away, when we target retirement goals, we usually go for 20 times the income you want as a rough idea to start, because that assumes a 5% return without touching capital. We can generate that for some time. And it adds a little buffer in there as well. So let's start with that, okay? So the first thing you need to think of is look at your income, your individual, your household, whatever it is, and then think about how much money you think you would need, how much money worth of investments you would need to generate that income for the rest of your life. So if we use that 20 times figure, we can start there. So let's say you earn $50,000 a year, right? Bottom level of the income sort of spectrum that we're talking about. To generate that, you're going to need about $1 million. So if you're, you know, we look at 50K as not really a great income, straight up. If you're on that, you've got to start somewhere, that's cool, but let's look at it like that. You're $1 million asset. At this point in your life, all the investments, whether it's uni, whether it's educating yourself, or it's just grinding and working hard, if you're generating 50K, you've got $1 million asset. Now, if you only generate that for 2 years, when you're 100 grand asset, we're going to assume that whatever investment and skills that you put in to generate 50K a year, the only shortfall you're going to face is your work ethic to be able to get out of bed and go get a job to generate that, right? So you're $1 million asset. So when you're out here putting focus on your $15,000 share portfolio and this, that, you're forgetting that you're the most important asset there. So then let's up that a bit, right? Let's say you're on 100K a year, or you've got a household income, you and your partner bring in 100K a year. You're a $2 million asset. Hectic, right? Now it's starting to look good, isn't it? You're by far the most valuable thing in your whole portfolio. Let's go up again. Let's say your household brings in 150K a year. That's a $3 million asset. Let's go to the top end, right? Obviously, people earn more than this, but let's cap it here. Your household brings in 200K a year, you're a $4 to $5 million asset. Think about how fucking phenomenal that is. All the hard work, all the education you put into yourself is generating that kind of asset. You are that asset. Now, what that does, I want you to give yourself a pat on the back first and foremost to understand that. Understand how hard you work to generate that. But then I want you to dial back a second. Now that we've given ourselves hand shandies and pat ourselves on the back and whatever, now I want you to reel it back and really understand that the biggest thing you need to do now is make sure you don't waste that asset. Because that's what most people do. They just think it's 50K. They just think it's 100K. Oh, it's not enough. It's not enough. They don't see it as the asset, and we waste it. So instead of trying to think of how your $10,000 portfolio or even your $100,000 portfolio or the house that you have a 10% share in and the bank owns the rest, which is 50K or 100K. Instead of trying to think of how that can make you rich and that's your biggest asset, start looking at yourself. You're the biggest asset by far. And think of how good that is. And now think about how to not waste that. Let's use that to generate the rest of your life's dreams. Yeah, because it's fucking amazing. You're amazing. Whatever you've done to get there is amazing. So don't waste it. You're the biggest investment. You're the biggest asset in your life. Let's use that to fucking kick ass and kick goals and get to where we want to be. Stop wasting your biggest asset being you. And the other thing you need to consider is you might be the biggest asset, but you're also the biggest expense to yourself. Not knowing what you're doing, thinking you can do everything yourself. Spending more than you should. Not being accountable. Not understanding tax. Not understanding your strategies. So you can be the biggest asset and the biggest expense at the same time. Stop wasting it. All that hard work you put in to get to where you are is amazing. Don't fucking waste it. Get your shit together and let's use what you hung your ass out to try and get to where you are. Let's use it now. Let's use it for the good. Keep that in mind.